जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी जमुना जमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी जमुना। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Subhadra Mai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parijakacharya Stotra Shadis Divine Grace Vaishnava Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parijakacharya Stotra Shadis Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Granth-raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, text number 24. Sa tam Mahabhagavatam Vrajantam Kauravarshabha Vishrambhad Abhyadhattedam Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe Satam Mahabhagavatam Satam Mahabhagavatam Vrajantam Kauravarshabha Vrajantam Kauravarshabha Vishrambhad Abhyadhattedam Vishrambhad Abhyadhattedam Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe Satam Mahabhagavatam Vrajantam Kauravarshavaha Vishrambhad Abhyadhatedam Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe. Please chant. Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam Vajantam Kauravarshabha Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe. Matajis. Satam Bhagavatam Vrajantam Kauravarshabha Vishrambhadabhyadhatedam Mukhyam Krishna Parigrahe. What word meaning? Please repeat after me. Saha Vidura Tam unto Uddhava Mahabhagavatam, the great devotee of the Lord. Vrajantam, while going. Kaurava Rishabhaha, the best amongst the Kauravas. Vishrambhat, out of confidence. Abhyadhatta, submitted. Idam, this. Mukhyam, unto the chief. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Parigrahe, in devotional service to the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him. Purport. Vidura was much older than Uddhava. By family relationship, Uddhava was a contemporary brother of Krishna's, while Vidura was as elderly as Krishna's father Vyasadeva. But although junior by age, Uddhava was much advanced in the devotional service of the Lord, and therefore he is described herein as the chief amongst the devotees of the Lord. Vidura was confident about this, and thus he addressed Uddhava in that higher category. That is the way of courteous dealings between two devotees. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this section, it is narrating the meeting between Vidura and Uddhava after the winding up of Krishna's manifest pastimes. Vidura, returning from pilgrimage, meets Uddhava, who is preparing to depart for Badrika Ashram according to Lord Krishna's instructions. Some important words used in this particular context are Mahabhagavata. Because Uddhava is not just a devotee, he is a Mahabhagavat, he is a great devotee whose consciousness is fully absorbed in Krishna. And it is also interesting that this designation, it is not based on birth or age, it's not based on his age, which is much younger to that of Vidura. Another word is Vishrambhat, or confidence, intimacy. So this word is used, it indicates spiritual intimacy which is free from formality. Because he has a lot of affection towards, Vidura is having a lot of affection towards Uddhava, and therefore he uses this word. This is used. Also, Mukham Krishna Parigrahe, which means who is chief in Krishna's service. So, because now it's interesting, he is junior in age, as we read in the purport. Vidura is the age of the father of Uddhava. Uddhava is a contemporary of Krishna, Krishna's father Vasudeva. So, Vidura is that age, that generation. But it is also interesting that the way in which this is addressed is Uddhava is accepted as being much more senior and superior. Why? Because it is bhakti, which is the qualification. Because the spiritual qualification, it supersedes material seniority. Materially by age, by qualification, by post, by experience, one may be higher. That's how respect is given. However, in the Bhagavata culture, it is devotional service that is seen. We find that there is also, in this particular verse, we find that mutual honor, mutual appreciation and honor, it characterizes saintly dealings. Dealings amongst Vaishnavas, there is a lot of mutual appreciation. This is a practical thing, in Vaishnava communities that is there to be applied, which is a principle of mutual appreciation for each other's service. In the material, what is the difference between here, wherein we are trying to become a part of Vaishnava community based on the instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given, and any other community outside. Community everybody belongs to somehow or other, to whatever degree of level they are engaged. Everybody belongs to, they are working for some company or they are working for some businessman, etc., etc. What is the difference is that there everything is based on envy, and it's progressive envy. So you cannot see somebody making progress, person cannot see, and they're okay with it. That means that there is nobody to tell, or there is no conscious control of the envy. And as a result, we find that people in the material sense, they keep plotting against each other. Office politics is something that is very natural, because they cannot see somebody moving ahead. And nobody can see anyone moving ahead. Even if the boss sees that somebody is making progress, he will not allow. So that is the fundamental functioning of how things operate in the material world. However, in Krishna conscious communities, the primary consideration that every individual should have and is appreciation. Envy can be counteracted through a service attitude, and it is externally, it can be exhibited through appreciation and glorification. Now what happens is that in our practice of Krishna consciousness, we may not be free from envy, and those feelings may come. However, the training is that given of external appreciation, more and more. So that's how we should train our mind also, to see good in every Vaishnava. Because every Vaishnava is unique. And every Vaishnava has something very special to offer to Krishna. And from Krishna's vision, he doesn't see that who is superior, who is not. He doesn't see like that. Eyatha mam prapadyante. So he reciprocates based on one's individual surrender and mood of service. It's actually reciprocation of Krishna is generally reciprocation to one's service attitude. That's how Krishna reciprocates. Not that it's just not the amount of service done, it is the quality done. That's how Krishna reciprocates. And that's also it's also progressive, because bhakti, both the means and end are the same. You perform bhakti, what will happen? You will end up performing more. And if you are doing that more, then you understand it's a barometer to check that, okay, I am progressing or not. You'll end up with more service. You'll end up with higher, deeper consciousness, wherein you now want to serve more Vaishnavas. That's how you understand you're advancing. That's how you know that the process is working. Because the envy, the material disease of envy is going down. Anarthas are going down. So what happens? Now we want to serve more. Love means service. We are developing Krishna Prem means we want to do more seva. So seva bhav is increasing. More and more one wants to serve. That's how we understand. So now what happens is, actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions this, that he gives a comparison of different kinds of Vaishnavas and how respect must be given. So he divides into Kanishtadhikari, Madhyama and Uttama. Of course, the nectar of instruction also it defines very clearly. But at the Kanishtha level, it is an individual who just sees, the devotee sees him, the Lord and his service. He doesn't see other Vaishnavas. That's the Kanishtha platform. He doesn't see other Vaishnavas. At the Madhyama platform, one sees, he has faith in other Vaishnavas also. So, and then Uttam, of course, he sees everyone as a Vaishnava except himself. That is a very exalted position. On a very practical note, what prevents us from developing a progressive mentality to live in Vaishnava communities is uncontrolled envy and our past conditioning and habits. Because in the material sense, we find that we are trained in criticism. Consciously or unconsciously, we always criticize. In material, especially for those who have been brought up in Vaishnava culture, it's different. But for those who have been brought up in the secular culture, we find that everybody criticizes. Criticism is the norm. You criticize everything. So you will find that people who are, even old people, when they are drinking tea together, they are criticizing about politics. Isne to aisa kar diya, isne to aisa kar diya. The whole mentality and mood is that of criticism. Whereas in Vaishnava culture, now what we carry that mentality sometimes with us. But consciously, it is up to every individual to not allow that mentality to creep in. In fact, consciously develop appreciation for each Vaishnava's service and qualities. The more we do this, the more you will see that you will become peaceful. And as individuals start mutually appreciating each other, you will find that then what happens is a culture of appreciation develops. Then a person who comes in the community, he will say, "Idhar ye to nahi chhodna hai mujhe. I don't know, I want to be a part of them. I don't want to leave this." Because appreciation, which comes out of gratitude and genuine value, wow, this devotee sings so well. He's so devotional. Oh, this devotee has such a nice service attitude. This kind of appreciation that comes, and when that is discussed more and more, it brings very positive vibrations. And then that is cultivated. One time we did in the Gurukul, we did a reflective exercise. We told all the boys, okay, take a few minutes and tell what are you grateful for. That was a gratitude exercise. Another time we did is appreciation exercise. It's appreciation. So you all mention what do you appreciate in each of these devotees. And there were some 2-3 boys who were having difficulty with some behavioral issues. They are having some problem. That means that they were either reacting aggressively or they were upset about something and they were fighting, like that kind of a behavioral problem was there. So we did this exercise, making everyone appreciate some good qualities. And when that finished, then everybody spoke well about each other. Overall, the mood was so happy. The boys were so happy that day. The energy was very high. And actually, when I made them do the exercise, they were all speaking good about each other. And then some boy suddenly said, "But we will speak. We want to appreciate you also," means the teacher. So they started appreciating, and they gave some good points about the teacher as well. So the overall mood became so good, and the experience was so thick that everybody felt a very strong connect with each other as a group. So mutual appreciation, it has that kind of an impact, which is free from envy. As we progress in devotional life, we also see how much envy is there in our system, envy exists around, and the more we become free from it. Because we find in the Bhagavatam over and over again, you will find that Bhagavatam is meant for nirmat saranam satam, those who are free from envy. So what is happening, this envy, the deepest anartha, which cannot even be engaged anywhere, it goes down within the system. That is what is happening when we are performing devotional life. Sometimes we may question ourselves, itne saal se bhakti kar raha hu, kya achieve kiya? What did we achieve? Because what happens, numbers don't show. It's not that what happens when a person is working outside, his bank balance goes up, so number dikhta hai. Itne saal baad itna paisa jama kiya hai. This is like that. Whereas a person who is performing devotional service, what numbers are there? There are no numbers. And what happens, devotees we live a lifestyle of voluntarily, we have accepted poverty in a sense. We are minimalistic in lifestyle. There's nothing much. Possessions aren't there. So sometimes they say, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, मेरे पास बंगला है, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? Somebody, our own mind may talk to us, क्या है तुम्हारे पास? That this question may come. So what is it? What have we achieved? We should then ask ourselves, have I developed attachment towards serving Vaishnavas? Have I developed attachment towards hearing the holy name, chanting the holy name? Shri Radha Madhav Bhagwan ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki. Have I developed attachment to taking the darshan of Radha Madhav towards performing devotional service? Am I able to live outside Vaishnava Sangha? We should ask ourselves these questions. If yes, that means we are increasing attachment. That means that there is progress happening. One thing that happens is envy goes down. And then we are able to, with service attitude, serve other Vaishnavas. More and more service we are able to perform towards more and more Vaishnavas. This is a sign of advancement. And we find this is how we progress. So, mutual appreciation. So, we find Vidura is having so much appreciation for Uddhava. Uddhava his age is like that of his son, but he is calling him topmost among Vaishnavas, devotees of Lord. Who talks like that? Imagine a materially senior person giving so much respect. Vidura is also devotee, but he calls Uddhava. This is a sign of appreciation. In the 11th canto, there is Uddhav Gita. Why is Vidura calling him like this? Because Krishna of everyone chose Uddhava at the end of his manifest pastimes to narrate Uddhav Gita. Arjuna's narration, what Krishna narrated to Arjuna was how a person must do action in crisis. Action in crisis, that is Bhagavad Gita. But Uddhav Gita is supremacy of devotion. That's Uddhav Gita, 11th canto. When Krishna is going to wind up his pastimes, he calls Uddhava and he makes him a recipient of this special knowledge. What is there in Uddhav Gita? To give you a short context. As compared to Bhagavad Gita, it is philosophically more extensive. There is a lot of renunciation which is described in Uddhav Gita, and focus is on pure devotion. So the topics that are there in Uddhav Gita are about detachment, self-realization, karma, jnana and the limitation, supremacy of bhakti, power of devotee association, what is the nature of a devotee, practice of spiritual life, Vedas, yoga, sense control. And finally Krishna says, always remember me, offer all actions to me, see me in all beings and practice exclusive devotion. Perform pure bhakti. So Uddhava, he is overwhelmed with devotion, accepts Krishna's instruction and he goes to Badrikashram carrying this message. So it is this time that Vidura asks him, So now, interestingly, we are discussing about appreciation and giving respect, how Vidura is giving respect and feeling like that for Uddhava. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has written a lot of essays on respect. And he mentions about how devotees must, in dealings, how they must deal with other Vaishnavas. He says 8 levels of respect are there. 8 levels. We should all give 8 levels of respect. How much respect to give to whom? Uttam Adhikari Vaishnava is going to see that except, other than himself, everybody is a Vaishnava. So that is a very exalted stage. But at a practicing level, sadhaka level, how do we give? So practically, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions. He says, first we should give respect to all human beings. Nara matrera maryada. Then he says, we should give respect to those who are civilized, which is sabhyatara maryada. We use this word in Hindi, na? Sabhyata, culture. Cultured, people who are civilized and cultured, we give respect. More than just humans. Higher than that is Raj Maryada or Pad Maryada, means those who are having position, they should be given respect. Generally, people are envious of those, itna position lekar baitha hai. They're envious. But they don't understand, when you get a position of authority, then you will understand how much heat there is in that. It's not easy. Some respect may be there, but when somebody is responsible for some other people or something, it means that anything goes wrong, it is that person's fault. So that is above, it is not that, a position of leadership, when done appropriately, is actually, it's not an easy thing. And therefore the respect is given. Then fourth one, higher than Pad Maryada, is respect to the educated or Vidya Maryada, anybody who is educated. Educated means what? It is not that just one has some material degrees. No, it is in Vedic knowledge, Shastra Gyan. Higher than that, 5th level of respect to those who have good qualities, especially Brahmanas, Sannyasis and Vaishnavas. Sadguna Maryada, those who have good qualities. Higher than that, respect is given to, according to the Varna. That means a Brahmana is given higher respect. This is Varna Maryada. 7th, higher respect is given to, according to ashram. That means ashram Maryada, sannyasi. Sannyasi is given topmost respect. And 8th, which is the highest, is respect according to devotion or bhakti Maryada. That is the highest. So in this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he delineates how, as practicing Vaishnavas should give respect in what order of hierarchy. And we find that even within our society, those who have devotion, who are seniority is by devotion. Seniority is not by any other thing. And therefore we find many times, one time I saw even in the ISKCON Jew, I was new devotee, that time I saw that there was a 2nd generation sannyasi and there was a Prabhupada disciple. And then, so this was during Darshan Arti, so they were going to take Charanamrit. So then everybody was pushing the sannyasi first. Ki aap jao pehle lo, Charanamrit. Because that's Maryada, that's how respect is given, they will go first. But the sannyasi, he's 2nd generation sannyasi. That means he's not Prabhupada disciple. And there was a Prabhupada disciple right next to him who was not a sannyasi, he's a grihastha. So he said, no, first you. So the first day, the Prabhupada disciple took the Charanamrit first. That means he accepted the respect. Next day, this Prabhupada disciple was prepared. He came, when the sannyasi came and he asked him to go first, so he said, no, after you. So now the sannyasi, what he could do. So he accepted again the respect given. His practical application of respect is in following the order of his superior. So he accepted the external respect, but internally he is accepting the instruction of the senior Prabhupada disciple. So he is not wrong now in going and taking Charanamrit first. And then Prabhupada disciple comes second. So like this, these are ways of respect we find. So practically this is how, respect is given. 8 we mentioned, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Now he says also in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he says various instructions on Vaishnava etiquette. And the hierarchy of respect, it focuses on the spiritual qualification and devotion of the individual. Because in Shikshamrita, what is there in Shikshashtakam? Amanena manadena. Giving all respect to others while not expecting respect for ourselves. Actually, not expecting respect for oneself is the toughest. Because this is how much expectation we have, always. इतना भी मालूम नहीं है, कितने साल से आया हूँ मैं. Mindset, this is how it works. We all have big expectations of respect. And we want things to go our way. इतना कर रहा हूँ मैं, value नहीं है. So this is what aman. This is manadena. This is amanena manadena. So we are looking at amanena, which is tough. Manadena. Now we are discussing, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, how to do manadena, how to give out. First he says Vaishnava Jiva, categories. He says categories. So we saw amongst human beings how we are given 8 levels of respect. We saw. Now we are looking at categories of respect in the following order. This is another order. First he says Vaishnava Jiva, the supreme object of respect. So those who have developed sincere devotion to Krishna and chant the holy name, they are the most worshipable people. Among them, the highest respect is given to Guru and pure Vaishnavas. This is the Vaishnava Jivas, among Jivas. Second highest respect is given to Vaishnava Prai, those who resemble Vaishnava. That means they are practicing externally and they are in the process of becoming devotees. Vaishnava Prai. Third is qualified Brahmanas, Brahmana Jiva. Those who possess Brahminical qualities and knowledge, they are given respect. Fourth are religious Jivas, people who are religious, ethical, they are moral, they are righteous, and they are pious, such people. And then 5 is ordinary Jivas, as all living beings should be respected as Krishna resides in all living beings. So like this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur amongst Jivas, he gives this kind of classification. First is what? Vaishnava Jiva. Second is Vaishnava Prai. Third is Brahmanas, Brahmana Jiva. Fourth is religious people, religious Jivas. And fifth is ordinary Jivas. Some key principles regarding respect. So aparad or offenses to avoid. Showing disrespect or dishonor to Vaishnava is a major offense which is detrimental to spiritual life. Another is universal respect that we offer respect to everyone in the world, regarding everyone as a servant of the Lord, potential servant of the Lord. We see everyone like that. In fact, while remaining in our own path, one also shows respect to other forms of worship in other religions, acknowledging them as different ways of worshipping the same absolute truth. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote essays on different religions also, and nowhere he criticized or condemned. Internal humility, that Vaishnavas, devotee consider himself as lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, always prepared to give respect without seeking it for themselves. So which are the Vaishnava offenses? In the Skanda Puran, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says 6 specific behaviors that lead to spiritual downfall. And one goes to hell called Maharaurava. Which are 6 specific behaviors. One is killing a devotee. Second, blaspheming or criticizing a devotee. Third, feeling malice or harboring internal hatred towards a devotee. Fourth, failing to greet or show proper respect to a devotee upon seeing them. Fifth, becoming angry with a devotee. 6. Not feeling joy or happiness while encountering a devotee. So when is criticism not an offense? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written Vaishnava Ninda. He says that, he clarifies, criticizing is acceptable only if motivated by good intentions, such as warning others to avoid religious pretenders, people who are pretending, fake gurus, etc. So if they are criticized, that is not Vaishnava Ninda. If one is in a position of mentorship or he is guiding someone to take shelter of a genuine Vaishnava, then that is not criticism. Example, many times Srila Prabhupada, I will not say criticized, but he said about his god brothers to his disciples that you should not go and take their association. And the reason was because he also mentioned, if somebody says one word different from me, then all will be lost. So because in a position of instruction, it is important that one protects the mentees or the new devotees from becoming confused and jumbled up. And therefore, some discrimination the new devotee is not able to make. And therefore, until he is mature, then the spiritual mentor, he does it for him. So that should not be taken as criticism. One more thing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is helping a practitioner reject bad association. If criticism is used in that, there is not Vaishnava Ninda. If there is in a situation wherein all are devotees, in a devotee society, if it is mentioned that so and so devotee is, he has certain practices which are not helpful for you, and so that is not criticism. There is a famous saying, he has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. So of course, we should not make the mistake thinking that I want to help everyone so I can criticize. It doesn't work like this. This is a position that comes with maturity and it is exhibited in its actions. We see there are many Vaishnavas who take responsibility for the movement voluntarily, and they take responsibility for Vaishnavas. Without having been told to do, they take responsibility. And their actions show that they are responsible and they are helping everyone. Such a person, when he criticizes, is actually good for all those who are under him, because that's how they will improve. It is the Guru's job. It is the spiritual teacher's job to make sure that, how do you get trained? If somebody doesn't point out mistakes, how will you be trained? Now, for example, if one has made offenses, then what should be done? So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that that person should seek forgiveness from the offended person. How? Humble submission. Fall at the feet of the offended devotee. Acknowledge the offense and sincerely beg for forgiveness. Of course, another thing is, it's not just about avoiding punishment, it is about attaining the favor or blessings of the devotees. So if we keep a humble service attitude and keep thinking like this, how I can serve the Vaishnava, how I can serve him. And then when the right time comes, we perform service. That's how you get blessings. Another way Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions is that we openly glorify the Vaishnava. Intense chanting of the holy name. Ultimately, the holy name is the purifier. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes in one essay, he says, absence of humility in modern Vaishnava society. He says there is absence of humility in modern Vaishnava society. We are unfortunate that we no longer see humility in modern Vaishnava society. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says everyone is trying to display and glorify his own qualities. Like somebody may say, I chant 1 lakh names. Oh, my conduct is very pure. I am a great devotee. He says such statements, egoistic statements, have become sole testimony of Vaishnavism in present times. Nowadays, people don't offer dandavats naturally with a simple heart. When two persons meet, they generally spend the whole time meant for offering dandavat in thinking, should I offer him dandavats first? And eventually, the one greets the other by saying, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Seeing all these inauspicious signs, it is feared that in the near future, the influence of Kali will also enter Vaishnava society. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Have you seen this? People, the devotees come and say, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. They come and say, Dandavat is to be performed, not spoken. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, instructions to chant Nama by completely giving up hypocrisy. He says, what are we proud of? We are repeatedly, this is all pride. We have pride. That's why we don't want to offer respect to others. We feel we deserve respect. He says, we are repeatedly being trapped in great illusions. Still we remain proud. He says that the personality who came in this world to preach Nam and who could not satisfy himself even by chanting Harinam constantly. Who is that person? Who came on this planet to teach and preach Nam? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to give the holy name. So he says that he declared that I am greatly misfortunate because I don't have any attachment for the holy name. Who said this? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't have any attachment. But we, by contrast, think that simply by chanting one Nama once, we have developed extreme attachment for it. This is the reason for great repentance. So why is it that we still maintain such evil-mindedness? Giving up all types of hypocrisy, let us make our lives meaningful by experiencing the humility that is the hallmark of Vaishnavism, the very behavior of Sri Gauranga and the ornament of a devotee's life. This is the essay called Dainya or Humility by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In the Puranas, the power of blessings that come from Vaishnava, offering respect to Vaishnavas is there in 1-2 stories. Would you like to hear? In the Hari Bhakti Subhodaya, it is mentioned in ancient times, group of sages met together at the bank of the Ganges to discuss about the topics of Krishna. Markandeya Rishi came, he's 7 kalpas old. You know what is 7 kalpas? 1 kalpa is 4.32 billion years. So you can do the math. 7 kalpas old, Markandeya Rishi comes there. He sees the young boy Parashar sitting on the lap of his father. Parashar was only 7 years old. Markandeya gets down and he offered obeisances to the young boy, Parashar. Markandeya Rishi is how old? Is 7 kalpas. And this Parashar is how old? 7 years. Seeing this, all the assembled sages became surprised and confused. Parashar got up from his father's lap and immediately offered obeisances to Markandeya Rishi. Markandeya then lifted the boy up and said, you are older to all of us, therefore we worship you. Please tell us your age. The young Parashar replied, what mystery is this? Markandeya Rishi is 7 kalpas old, I am a mere boy of 7 years. Markandeya smiled and said to the rishis, how is one's span of life to be considered? O rishis, I speak the truth. All jivas are born with material bodies, but the time one spends doing Hari Bhajan should be calculated as the actual span of life. Just like one blows away empty rice husks, one does not see the remaining grains. Similarly, wise persons do not count the period of life which is not spent in remembering Lord Hari. So, addressing Parashar, Markandeya said, since you do not spend even half a moment without contemplating on Lord Narayan, you are older to all of us and therefore an object of respect to all of us. Our situation is such that if our days could be calculated according to that, none of us would be more than 5 years old. So time spent for attaining spiritual benefit is the only value in life. A child who has steadfast devotion to Sri Hari is most glorious, whereas an old man who is devoid of devotion to Hari is totally undone in life. Which is greater, a mighty tree or a small tulsi plant? Tulsi plant. In the Padma Puran, so there is a backstory to Markandeya. The power of offering respect. This is from Padma Puran. In a previous kalpa, the sage Mrikandu, the son of Bhrigu Muni, practiced penances with his wife. While they were living in the forest, a son was born to them. The child became 5 years of age. At that time, a visiting sage saw the boy wandering about in the courtyard. Seeing that sage, Mrikandu asked how much his boy will live. He asked the sage, how much will this boy live? The wise sage told him that the boy will live for another 6 months. 6 months. Hearing this, the father performed the sacred thread ceremony. He did Upanayana Samskar for the boy. And then he gave him instruction. Offer obeisances to the sages. Thus instructed by his father, the boy found delight in offering obeisances to others. He didn't care if the person was from a high class or low class. He offered obeisances to everyone. One day, the boy saw the Sapta Rishis on the path and offered obeisances to them. The sages blessed him, saying, Chiram Jiva, may you live long. Then, by their mystic power, they realized that the boy had only 5 more months, 5 more days to live, 5 more days. Frightened that they had made some mistake, they went to see Lord Brahma. So all of them come to Lord Brahma, they offer their obeisances to Lord Brahma. Seeing the boy's sincerity, Lord Brahma blessed him, Chiram Jiva, may you live long. Brahma then asked the sages, who is this boy and why has he come to me? The sages told him everything. This is the son of Mrikandu. By fate, his life is short. When his father performed thread ceremony, he told him, you should offer obeisances to everyone you meet. So we blessed him, saying, Chiram Jiva. How will our words and the words spoken by you, O Brahmadev, become true? Lord Brahma replied, the earth is maintained by honest words. This Markandeya will live for an entire kalpa. Saying so, Brahma blessed him and completely reversed the actions of time and fate. And that Mrikandu's son became Markandeya, who did not live for 1 kalpa, he lived for 7 kalpas. So now you can see how and what kind of impact blessings can have, which come with humility. We see this. Today is actually the disappearance day of Srila Ishwara Puripad, who is the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in Mahaprabhu's own dealings, he showed how offering respect and having a special appreciation towards Vaishnavas, how through his own dealings he showed. So, at the last stage of life, this is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj says, at the last stage of life, Srila Madhavendra Puri, he became invalid and was completely unable to move. And Ishwara Puri so completely engaged in himself in Madhavendra Puri's service that he cleaned his stool and urine also. Personally, always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and reminding Madhavendra Puri about the pastimes of Lord Krishna in his last stage of life. Ishwara Puri gave best service amongst disciples. Thus, Madhavendra Puri was so happy and he said, may you have Krishna Prema. Thus, Ishwara Puri became a great devotee in the ocean of love of God. So this is Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in this purport that it is by the mercy of the spiritual master that one becomes perfect, as vividly exemplified here. A Vaishnava is always protected by the Lord, but even if he becomes an invalid, you know what is invalid? He can't do anything, vegetable, cannot do anything. Then this gives a chance to the disciples to serve him. Ishwara Puri pleased his spiritual master by service, and by the blessings of his guru, he became such a great personality that Mahaprabhu accepted him as his spiritual master. So before initiating Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ishwarapuri stayed, when he came to Navadvip, he stayed at the house of Gopinath Acharya for a few months. There he met Sri Chaitanya when he was Nimai Pandit. And he requested help with his book Krishna Lilamrita. You want to hear that pastime? So, Mother Sachi becomes very happy, she's happy seeing that Nimai is happily engaged in his studies. At that time, Ishwarapuri comes to in disguise to Navadvip. Nobody knows. He is the exalted disciple of Madhavendra Puri. He didn't want to attract attention, because if everybody knew that such a great Vaishnava is coming, then they will worship him. He didn't want all that. So he hid his real identity and went to Advaita Acharya's temple. What is Advaita Acharya's relation with Ishwarapuri? God brothers. Advaita Acharya also was initiated by Madhavendra Puri. Upon arriving there, Ishwarapuri found that Advaita Acharya was busy in his seva, puja, in the temple. So he came in and he sat down very timidly and cautiously. But the power of a great Vaishnava cannot be hidden from another great Vaishnava. Again and again, Advaita Acharya is distracted and kept looking away from his duties in the direction of Ishwarapuri. Finally, he asked him, "Who are you?" And you know what Ishwarapuri said? He said, I am a Shudra of the lowest class. Imagine if somebody asks us, who are we? We will tell all our qualifications, so many service, I am here. In this way, the jewel of learned scholars, Ishwarapuri, showed how humility is the true ornament of Vaishnava. Mukund Datta recognized that Ishwarapuri is a Vaishnava sannyasi. Mukund Datta very sweetly began to perform kirtan. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he asks, is there anyone who can remain unmoved when Mukund Datta performs his sweet kirtan? Nobody can remain unmoved. So upon hearing the deeply moving songs of Mukund Datta, Ishwarapuri lost composure and he fainted in a trance of deep ecstasy. And he was crying. All devotees are completely dumbstruck on seeing this. They never saw this kind of satvika vikar. Advaita Acharya also, seeing this, Advaita Acharya also began to experience transcendental emotion. Then they all concluded, this visitor must be none other than Ishwarapuri, the glorious disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So they all began chanting Hari Hari. So one day while he was staying there in Navadvip, Mahaprabhu came, and Ishwarapuri saw Nimai looking so beautiful, 7 foot tall with perfectly bodily features. He said, "Oh, best of the Brahmins, what is your name? Where is your house? What book are you reading?" So Mahaprabhu, Nimai, he with great humility offered his obeisances to Ishwarapuri. And the disciples, because that time Nimai had his school, Sanskrit school, his disciples said his name is Nimai Pandit. And Ishwarapuri said, "You are the Nimai Pandit." Ishwarapuri became so happy. And Mahaprabhu, with great humility, said, "Shripad, please have mercy on me and come to my house and honor prasadam." So Ishwarapuri goes to the house of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu washes the lotus feet of Ishwarapuri with his own hands. Sachi Mata quickly prepared various kinds of preparation, offered them to the deity, and then Mahaprabhu accepted it. 2 of them, they entered the temple of Vishnu and discussed Krishna Katha at great length. And gradually, Krishna Prem sprang up in their hearts. Like this, 1 month, Ishwarapuri stayed at the house of Gopinath Acharya. Mahaprabhu would invite Ishwarapuri to his house, and many times was invited also by Ishwarapuri. So he used to go there. Ishwarapuri Gadadhar Pandit was a young boy. So Ishwarapuri was very affectionate to him. He would read to Gadadhar from a book that he had written called Krishna Lilamrita. And every day around sunrise, Mahaprabhu would come offer obeisances to Ishwarapuri. One day Ishwarapuri told Mahaprabhu, "You are the topmost of Pandits. I am writing a book about Krishna's pastimes. If you find some fault, help me out for editing." Mahaprabhu smiled and said, "The words of Krishna's devotees are as good as Krishna himself. They are in the same category as he. These words are not mundane. If somebody finds fault with Krishna or his devotees, is a great sinner. What a bhakta writes is not poetry. It is dear to Krishna and therefore it is perfect." A devotee's prayers of love have nothing to do with the rules of grammar, and nothing depends on it. Krishna is only interested in the love which comes from these prayers. They are dear to Krishna in any case, whether they are constructed according to the rules of grammar or not. One who looks for faults in the words of a devotee will never be pleasing to Krishna. Upon hearing Mahaprabhu's words, Ishwara Puri felt as if his senses had been drenched in nectar. He could understand that Shri Gaur Sundar is none other than Shyama Sundar. And a few days later, Ishwara Puri leaves Navadvip, continuing to visit the holy places of pilgrimage. So now Mahaprabhu, on the closure of his Vidya Leela, he wanted to now open the storehouse of love of God. So he goes to Gaya. And Gaya, he went on the pretext of offering oblations to his ancestors. But there whom does he meet? Ishwara Puri. So then, Ishwara Puri came. Ishwara Puri, when he saw Nimai, he became speechless. And Nimai also. Nimai also fainted. And then he returned to external consciousness, saw Ishwara Puri. He offered obeisances. Both embraced each other. They were drowning in an ocean of tears that poured incessantly from their eyes. Mahaprabhu says, now my visit to Gaya is successful because I have seen your lotus feet. By traveling to a holy place and offering pinda, one delivers his ancestors. But one who sees you automatically delivers millions of ancestors. So my pilgrimage is unparalleled because your holiness has rendered everything perfectly auspicious. He says, I offer, because you can free me from the ocean of repeated birth and death. I offer you this body to do with it as you wish. You alone can make me drink the nectar of divine rasa at the lotus feet of Krishna. My desire is that you grant me this gift. So he says, Ishwara Puri says, that I have understood you are none other than the Supreme Lord. Ever since I have seen you, I can't get you off my mind. Ishwara Puri is telling Mahaprabhu, I don't want to think of anything else except you. Upon seeing you, I become as happy as if I am seeing Krishna himself. And Mahaprabhu, he lowers his head in respect and he says, I am supremely fortunate. Please give. Then after a few days, Mahaprabhu, in a mood of humility, sought out Ishwara Puri and then asked him, please show mercy on me and initiate me in the Gayatri Mantra as your disciple. For the want of Gayatri Mantra, my mind is very much disturbed. Ishwara Puri was very happy. He says, whether I am giving you my words in a speech or in a mantra, it is my life I wish to give you. I wish to give you everything I have. See what kind of sweet, intimate dealings are these. Mahaprabhu and his, both are saying, you are mine, I am yours. After this, Ishwara Puri initiates Gaur Sundar in this divine mantra. And then Ishwara Puri is called by Mahaprabhu at his home and then he is offered prasadam. And Ishwara Puri says, I will consider myself very fortunate if I can get some rice from your lotus hands. Mahaprabhu cooks himself. And then he nicely feeds Ishwara Puri. After lunch, he smears sandalwood pulp over the limbs of Ishwara Puri and offers him nice garland of flowers. In this way, in order to acquaint us how to worship Guru Parampara, Mahaprabhu himself worshipped by personal example his spiritual teacher. When Mahaprabhu was returning from Gaya to Navadvip, he passed through Kumarhata, which is the birthplace of Ishwara Puri. When he arrived there, he became filled with divine love. His voice choked in ecstasy. And then before he left, he went to the birthplace of Ishwara Puri, took some dust from that birth site. And he left for Navadvip. He announced, this dust is my life and soul. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he takes sannyas, he goes to Jagannath Puri on the order of his mother. By then, Ishwara Puri had finished his role in the Lord's pastimes. At the time of his passing away, he instructed his two disciples, Govinda and Kashishwar Pandit, to live near Mahaprabhu and render service unto him. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati writes, the best of sannyasis, Madhavendra Puri, had as his foremost disciples Ishwara Puri, Advaitacharya and Nityananda. In order to honor Ishwara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Guru of the whole world, accepted him as his spiritual master. Ishwara Puri Pad Ki. So we'll end by chanting the pranam mantra of Ishwara Puri. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Padashritagryam Chaitanya Mantreshwara Prema Purnam Shri Krishna Lilamrita Kavya Krityam Shri Ishwarakhyam Puripad Mile. Srila Ishwara Puripad Ki. Any questions or comments? You can take one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. A lot to learn about appreciation, gratitude. Prabhuji, I have two questions. First is, what is the root cause for the envy? And like you have mentioned, we can practice appreciation and gratitude. But what are the other practices that we can consciously apply in our life?
So there are two questions. What is the root cause of envy? Ichha dvesha samuthena tvanta moheran bharata. This world, there are these two things. Duality exists in this world in the form of envy and desire. So because we have these, we want to become Krishna. And then we ask in the spiritual world, why is Krishna Krishna, why I am not Krishna? And so we are sent here to reform ourselves. So that is the cause of envy, because we wanted to lord it over and we wanted to become Krishna. That's how it begins. So, of course, envy is not only, it is battled by having a service attitude, by performing service to the Vaishnavas. And of course, at an individual level, yes, gratitude and appreciation have their place. So what are the other ways? The best is service attitude, always keeping ourselves as, considering ourselves as servants of the Vaishnavas, always reminding ourselves again and again. We forget. We remind ourselves again and again that I have got an opportunity to perform devotional service in the association of Vaishnavas. What bigger honor and opportunity could there be? And not allowing that envious mentality to come and creep in practicing devotional life. To be very cautious about it. Because the next step is Vaishnava Ninda, which will happen as soon as we allow envy to enter inside. So always being conscious and always keeping a service attitude and appreciating the qualities of Vaishnavas are practical ways in which we can avoid acting on envy.
And Prabhuji, second question is, like you mentioned, practicing of appreciation and gratitude, which is free from envy on daily basis in that way. On the other hand, we see, Prabhuji, that the words, the thoughts are very powerful, that whatever we think, whatever words we talking to ourselves also in the mind, it becomes the reality. And the law of attraction, somehow, they have the daily affirmations. I am good, I am healthy, so they talk like this. So somehow, the goal may be different, but the process, here also appreciation we are doing, and the law of attraction, people who are following that. So this is also something similar, Prabhuji? Like
that is impersonal. When we, our exercise of gratitude is in connection with Krishna. In the law of attraction, or the appreciation exercises they do, or gratitude exercises, there is devoid of Krishna. So it's impersonal. So it may look same, but it's not. Because for us, we should talk to ourselves in our reflection that by the mercy of the Lord, today what am I getting? So then the moment we understand, today I have an opportunity to take nice prasadam with the devotees, to practice spiritual life, to participate in kirtan, to perform this service for Radha Madhav. These are all opportunities that Radha Madhav have given me. This is how the devotee's consciousness is. When otherwise the affirmations and our real affirmation is this every day morning. Srimad-Bhāgavatam is our affirmation every day. The more, that's why it is indoctrination. It is indoctrination, and this is affirmation. The process works the same, but this is a personal one, and that's an impersonal one. What do you end up with that? Nowhere. You don't even end up in Brahman with that process. They just fall down. It doesn't last. But with Krishna, we develop love. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Nityananda Prabhu also had his hand up. Give it to him.
You mentioned that respecting human beings. Prabhupada says at one place you should respect even ant also. And when it comes to Vaishnavas, we see offering Panchang Pranam, Dandvat Pranam, full-head ants. How we should respect human beings? Because I feel it is something, there's so many human beings, so many species, offering respect to everyone is not possible. So I feel cannot do this sometimes, most of the times, not some. So what is that one thing which I can do so that I don't have to do all these things?
In the morning you chant Vaishnava Pranam, right? Remember all the Vaishnavas and all the potential Vaishnavas also, and offer obeisances to everyone. That's what we do. In the morning, why do we offer Vaishnava Pranam? First thing in the morning, after we worship Guru in Guru Ashtakam, then we ask for protection from Nrsingadev, and then we worship Tulsi Devi. Okay? What do we do after that? We are chanting Vaishnava Pranam, we are offering obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. There is one great Vaishnava by name Devakinandan Das Thakur. Devakinandan Das Thakur is the Purva Acharya. He says that I offer my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas in the past and who are yet to come. Past, present and future, everyone I offer my obeisances. So like that, when you are offering obeisances in the morning at Vancha, Kalpatarubhyascha, like that when you are doing, you can remember like this, contemplate all Vaishnavas like this. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Prabhuji, as you mentioned about Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written about giving respect at the hierarchy level is there. So, but we see that we cannot understand that how much devotion he has inside. That the last one is Bhakti Maryada, and one before that is Ashram Maryada. But inside nobody can see that how much he has devotion. So generally in ISKCON we generally go with the Ashram Maryada only. So how do we do that? Like how can we understand that somebody has this much devotion or that much devotion?
It takes one to be one. As we develop devotion, you understand. So till the time, what levels we cannot understand, we approach somebody who can understand. Therefore institution is there. Institution has some rules, and there are some senior people who are present. They know, so we take advice. This is practical.
Also, another question, as you told that Bhaktivinoda Thakur told that in modern Vaishnava community, it was 200 years back almost, and he was talking about at that time. But right now we see that definitely humility is not there, but it is because of institutionalization, or because when devotee come, definitely they have to introduce themselves. Okay, I'm this and that. They have to tell their name. I'm from so and so place. But as a Vaishnava, we should not introduce also. So how do we see that?
No, as a Vaishnava, it is not, we don't introduce. As a Vaishnava means, real humility means what, It's actually not considering, it's not thinking less of oneself. It's actually thinking less about oneself. You understand? It's not that considering myself very low. It's actually thinking less about oneself. Kam socho apne bare mein. Humility ye hai. So it's not. So for practical service-related purposes, somebody asks, so that's okay, because Ishwara Puri, he told this to Madhavendra Puri, to Advaita Acharya, that I am the lowest among Shudras. See, whom is he talking to? So for practical purposes, it's a different matter. In practical day-to-day life, we express humility through our service and through also our dealings with other Vaishnavas. And at an individual level, what do we tell ourselves when things don't go the way we want them to? What do we do?
So many times some devotees also may ask us, Prabhu, what do you do? or where you're from, or how many years you have. So at that time, what answers should we give? Like generally, I'm doing so and so services, everything we should tell, because at that time when we tell this, then immediately pride will come, and I'm doing these things from so many years, so immediately pride will arise.
That's
so
why we put in the beginning and the end that by the mercy of Vaishnavas I am engaged in so and so. It's all by mercy of Vaishnavas. It's not because of my qualification. Mercy of Vaishnavas I am engaged in so and so. So even if there is pride, where does it start from? It's only mercy, right? So it's mercy. Okay? All right, we'll end here.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, जैसे अपने ह्यूमिलिटी के विषय में इतने वर्णन किया, प्रभु जी जैसे देखते हम स्टार्टिंग दौर में जब भी ज्वाइन होते हैं टेम्पल, तो उस दौर में हम थोड़ा विनम्र रहते हैं और सिंपलिसिटी रहता है, किंतु जैसे 2 साल 3 साल हम मोमेंट में रहते हैं तो हमारे वो जो स्टार्टिंग दौर में जो सरलता रहता है, जो नाम में रुचि रहता है, सेवा में रुचि रहता है, वो जैसे हम 2 साल 3 साल व्यतीत करते हैं मोमेंट में प्रभु जी, तो वो उस मूड के अनुसार हम नहीं कर पाते हैं, दूसरे यानी चेंजेस बहुत हो जाते हैं। तो इसको हम यानी उसी मूड को कैसे कंटिन्यू कर पाएँ और उसी भाव को वैष्णव के प्रति आदर और आचार्य के प्रति।
बोल रहे हैं कि पहले सिंप्लिसिटी होता है फिर कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी हो जाता है। So how do we continue maintaining? So that's the whole process of cultivation. यही तो प्रोसेस में हमने एनरोल किया है। It's called the process of spiritual life. So spiritual life ऐसा रहता है कि because all these anarthas are there, so they are coming. So यही तो है जब हम प्रैक्टिकली अप्लाई करते हैं, इस तरह से आचार्यों की वाणी का शेल्टर लेते हैं, महाप्रभु के चरित्र से हम सीखते हैं, भागवतम से सीखते हैं, एंड देन अगेन इट इज रीइंफोर्स्ड। सो देन मैं क्या करूँगा फिर? देन अगेन नाउ आई विल बी फोर्स्ड बिकॉज मेंटली आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग माई सेल्फ, कंडीशनिंग माई सेल्फ टू एक्ट इन दैट वे। सो यही तो कल्टिवेशन है, यही है। सो आंसर इसका सिंपल है, लगे रहो।
प्रभु जैसे आपने बताया प्रणाम के विषय में, दंडवत प्रणाम करना चाहिए, किंतु हम फ़ोन पे भी बहुत ऐसे वैष्णव को सुनते हैं कि दंडवत प्रणाम बोलते हैं, तो उसको किस प्रकार से समझे? दंडवत यानी आपने बताया कि शारीरिक पूरा साक्षात करना चाहिए।
अब ट्राई करके कर सकते हैं, प्रणाम फोन पे है। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी उधर बोलना मत, कर दिया। वो सोचेंगे अभी दंडवत प्रणाम मैं बोल रहा हूँ, ये बोल क्यों नहीं रहा है? प्रभु जी मैंने तो कर दिया। No, that is the way we speak it is because it's always, it's an expression. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada की जय, ये 2 चीज़ हम हमेशा बोलते हैं, दंडवत प्रणाम, Srila Prabhupada की जय, so like that. तो ये एक कल्चर है, कल्चर। तो ये कल्चर के द्वारा जो है माइंड जो है ना, वो डायरेक्शन में चला जाता है। जैसे अभी आप ये सोच पा रहे हैं कि मैं फ़ोन पे बात कर रहा हूँ, प्रणाम तो कर नहीं रहा हूँ, सो विचार आया ना। यही तो प्रोग्रेस है कि हम पहले तो फील भी नहीं करते हैं, मैं क्यों प्रणाम करूँ, ये वाला फीलिंग होता है पहले। बट ये करते करते बोलते बोलते फिर विचार भी आएगा, बोल तो रहा हूँ लेकिन मेरे मन में वैसा प्रणाम वाला है नहीं। सो आवर होल प्रोसेस ऑफ डिवोशनल लाइफ इज लाइक दैट, इट इज मोर इंटरनल, wherein we contemplate, we also smaranam practice करते हैं। So we are offering obeisances, not necessarily physically but mentally, like that. Okay, मानसिक प्रणाम। Okay, we'll end here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की, श्रील ईश्वर पुरीपाद की, ताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
जय।